What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Titletown Podcast. It's Chase here again with my friend Drew. What's going on, Drew?
Hey guys, how's it going?
And we are here to bring you some more Celtics topics to talk about. And before we get into the thick of it, I want to say we are brought to you again today by Forever Boston Green, an Instagram account. Go check him out. I'll throw his tag on the top and his logo on the top too. All right, so today what we're talking about right now is the Gordon Hayward trade saga is officially over, and the Celtics have walked away with $28.5 million of trade exemption and a second-round pick, and we gave up Hayward and 2 second-round picks. So before we get into our thoughts and opinions on that, it is worth noting that the $28.5 million trade exemption is only good until this year's trade deadline, and the other thing is that it looks lopsided, which it possibly could, but what just the $28.5 million leaves us is a chance to add a star, a max contract player by the deadline. And so, Drew, real quick, what I want to talk about today is some potential targets, what the Celtics can do with it. And if we want right now, we'll just throw an initial grade out. So let's hear your grade first for this, and then let's hear some potential targets you like.
How do you mean grade?
Sorry, like grade the trade. What do you think of because in hindsight, it looks like we lost this trade. We lost a star in Hayward. I don't really like calling him a star, but many people do. And we gave up 2 second-round picks in exchange for a future second-round pick, just one, and a bunch of trade exemptions. So, what's your grade on this pick currently?
So there was a time where it seemed like we could have been able to get Miles Turner for Gordon Hayward, who was, I think, 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and he would have been a great asset to cover someone like Bam Adebayo, which the Celtics definitely struggled with defensively.
Desperately need a position and a guy that Celtics desperately need.
So I was, before the whole trade exemption, I was not psyched about this because it's like, I feel like we're getting rid of him for nothing. When we learned about the $28.5 million, that definitely changed my perspective. So I'm going to get into why I think that's so important for the Celtics. But for now, I'm going to give this, let's call it a B plus.
All right. So I am, we've been talking about, if you look at all of our other episodes, it's been like, why aren't we going after, why didn't we accept Miles Turner? Why didn't we accept the trade and all that stuff? And, I still stand by that. I would rather have a firm Miles Turner, and here's why. It's still Danny Ainge as our GM, and I feel like he's a little afraid to pull the trigger on a big trade. And what I'm worried about is that this just goes to waste, and we trade for someone that's just not worth a 28.5. Someone that, I'm just thinking of, I can't even think of someone random, like someone small that like Danny Ainge might be like, oh, that's that guy we're going to come off the bench and get that solid, grimy, 10 minutes out of him. Because what I noticed with Brad Stevens' lineup is that he will play everyone on the bench. This is during regular season. Playoffs, it's a little different. But he'll play every guy out there. And I think that Danny Ainge is going to waste this $28 million for a role player. So I'm going to give it a C to C plus. I'm going to go a whole letter lower than your B to B plus. And that's just because Hayward, although he was getting grossly overpaid for us, he still, I'm afraid, his contribution is going to be more than this future guy we're going to get out. And just, we don't need picks. I can't specify that enough. But why are we giving away 2 and only getting back 1? That just doesn't add up. I mean, good for the Hornets for getting a guy they love in Hayward, but I don't love this as much as RN. I'll give them an A, frankly. I don't really care. I'll give them an A. But yeah, Drew, get into your potential targets, how you like to see this set in stone by the deadline, because that's when we're going to give a real grade on it.
So I'm a pretty firm believer that, with the exception of the Golden State Warriors, if you want to win a championship in this league, you need to have someone who can score in the paint. You need to have a good center. Seems like Danny Ainge is more under the mindset of let's be a scrappy college basketball team and get a bunch of guards and not go after big men.
Yeah,
that's what he wants to do. That's what he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised if this cap space is used to try to acquire someone like Aaron Gordon, another kind of bigger guy who's versatile but not a true center. I was reading a little bit about how he could fit into the Danny Ainge system. That being said, as much as I don't love the fact that we're not going after a Miles Turner, that type of player, I am totally good getting rid of Gordon Hayward. I know I've expressed my feelings about him before, but the last thing the Celtics need is another wing player. We don't need another wing player.
I cannot agree with you more real quick. Sorry, I cannot agree with you more.
Since his injury, all he really does is he's a spot-up shooter from three. And what was his three-point shooting percentage?
It was below 40, and it was definitely below 35.
I think it was 29%.
It was in the playoffs. Yeah, it was 29. You're right.
Playoff three-point shooting percentage was 29%. So it's hard for me to even call him a star at this point. I am fine getting rid of him. We don't need more wing players. I wish that we were going to use this money to try to acquire a bigger center, try to get a 6'11", 7-footer. I imagine we're going to go after a power forward, but I feel good about the direction right now because this is a win now Celtics team, right? And Danny Ainge is scared to do a big move. Danny Ainge is scared to give up the future because I think, as Adam said in a past podcast, a team that's always rebuilding, that's a safe GM spot. So it seems like Danny Ainge is scared to make a big move, scared to take us to the next level and truly become a win now team. But this $28.5 million, as you said in the beginning of the podcast, needs to be used before the trade deadline this year. And we're not just going to let that go to waste. So I really hope that they go after someone big, trade away some more draft picks, and really try to become a win now team with this extra cap space.
Yeah, so here's what I want to say. I like the idea. I don't love it. I like it. The idea of trading for Aaron Gordon because he's a freak athlete. You know, he has unbelievable, I don't want to say athleticism. It sounds, it sounds pretty
redundant.
Yeah, redundant, but he's nuts. I mean, we've seen him in the dunk contest. He's a big guy. I don't know his exact height. If you want to look it up for me real quick, I want to say he's around like 6'9". He's not what we need to win a championship, in my opinion. Trading for a guy like Aaron Gordon, we're probably going to have to give up,
6'9".
Yeah, so he's 6'9", so he'll be the tallest starter on the team then. But I do kind of want to disagree with you. It's a little relevant on that unless you're the Warriors, you need an offensive center to win. I feel like you just need a big guy that can stop other teams' big guys. You know what I mean? And that sounds a little childish, like, oh, I need a big guy to stop your big. No, I think that and we've agreed this in the past, and I don't want to get into like a quick little argument, but I think Shaq in his prime was the most dominant player in the league history. Dominant, not best, dominant. And what we saw was Bam dominate us in the paint. He was not the best player on the court by any means, but he dominated us in the paint. I think that what we need to do is get a guy that is defensive. And, this is Aaron Gordon and him are not in the same trade, just category of how much value they are going to cost to give up. But I would say is we need a trade for a guy like Rudy Gobert. I know I've talked about him in the past. And the reason why is I don't think he averages more than 10 a game, and that's fine by me because, again, I can't say this enough. We have so many options out there. We're like a 3-and-D kind of team. It's kind of what we are, and like if that's what we're going with, then we got to stick with that. Yeah. And we have no D to go along with that 3. You know what I mean? Especially in the center.
Great perimeter D.
Yeah, exactly. We have great perimeter Ds, just not in the inside. So I think a guy like Rudy Gobert, man-child, he's a freak of human nature. You don't see a lot of guys with his build just lumber in their swan stuff. Unbelievable center, stuff like that. And, maybe what we can do is even try and poach Miles Turner away now that he seems like he's available. I don't think it sat well with him that the Pacers were trying to trade him away. So I don't mind getting him. But I don't hate getting a guy like Aaron Gordon because I definitely think him and Bam in the paint would be a matchup. I don't know if we would win that here and there, but I do agree that is someone I think we see Danny Ainge try and target because he can shoot the spot up 3.
Yeah, they would love that.
And he's a big guy. So that's all I really got to say about this. I want to stick with my C to C+ rating. And I want to just change what I said earlier that we won't know what this grade will be until the deadline. We'll know what this grade will be either by the deadline if we don't use it or by the end of the season, depending on how well we did. So what's your just one more wrap-up take opinion of just this whole Gordon Hayward debacle?
Yeah, I mean, as always, peace out, Gordon Hayward. Another area which would be pretty crazy, another win now team in the East is the 76ers. And I think they could benefit from having a Kemba on their team. And
are you thinking Kemba for Embiid, are you?
I mean, I don't think that they would go straight up Kemba for Embiid, but if we could throw in some draft picks, we now have the cap room to acquire Embiid. They have Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is a great scorer, and Ben Simmons is a star. But if we could somehow, I was reading that it is feasible that we could somehow pair Kemba and Embiid, and that would turn us into a championship team.
So let me tell you a little bit about Embiid, a little bit about Joel Embiid. I think he is the best center in the league. And I would do Kemba two first-round picks, that damn second-round pick we got from the Hornets, straight up for Embiid.
Yeah.
11 days out of 10. I think Embiid will take us from a finals hopeful to a championship hopeful. I think he and Anthony Davis in the paint. We got you can double team
Anthony Davis in the paint, dude.
Absolutely.
Anthony Davis doesn't have the size to match up Joel Embiid.
He's got 2 inches on Embiid on Davis. I don't. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. I do not see this happening, but I would do anything. Like obviously, I would. A Patriots Super Bowl is more important to me than a Celtics championship, but that would be a unbelievable shift of the tides in the East. Because in my opinion, it would take the 76ers right out of the picture. I don't think they would benefit at all from this trade at all, and it would jumpstart our just chances of just running the East like the Cavs used to. Where obviously. We don't have LeBron, but at the end of the day, we still have a 23, 24, 26-year-old core of Smart, Brown, and Tatum. And you throw in my best center. Yours is obviously Jokic, but we don't know how to compare the two. My best center, and I can back it up with his defensive ability. Jokic doesn't play defense. We're not going to argue about them. But that's what I'm saying. I think that is like the best thing the Celtics can do. And one last thing before we end this is that this Gordon Hayward incident isn't on Gordon Hayward. It's on Danny Ainge. Gordon Hayward was just tired of sitting there like, what's my future? He took control of his destiny, got paid, and went to an organization where he's going to be the star. I have no ill will towards Gordon Hayward. I know. You're in the same. But you're just like, I don't like him because he's just not a great player. You like him as a person, yeah. Exactly. But this is all on Danny Ainge, and what's he going to do to make up for it? He gave himself potential to make up for it. He did. He absolutely did. He got that money that we desperately need. But what's he going to do with it? This is all on him now. I love Boston sports heads of the offices like there's no tomorrow. I would never trash. But the Celtics coach and Stevens and Danny Ainge have really been pissing me off the past couple of years.
We'll see if they really try to transform this.
Yeah.
Let's get draft picks. Let's get a good young core into really transforming that into a win now team. And now's the time. So hopefully that this extra cap space is what we need to take us to the next level.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll end on that note. Great segment, Drew. Thank you for joining like always. And happy Friday, everyone. Go Celtics. And remember, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on us on any of the platforms we have. I will throw them in the comments so you will never have to worry about us not being available to you because we are on so many platforms. And before we sign off, just again, Drew, thank you for joining us. And see you guys next time.